Hey everyone, it is Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast, and it's Saturday morning. So I stayed up a little bit too late last night, and now I have my sexy Saturday morning voice. So we're gonna go with that. This article was amazing, amazing. It essentially had all of the same critique that you hear coming out in the comics industry, except it was just biting into the point, and it was from a different perspective. So normally, if you're criticizing comic books, people could look at you and tell you that you're racist or sexist, and that's why you didn't like the book. It's your fault. It has something to do with you, and they're actually making comics for somebody else other than you. Now, this is a different perspective. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, and it was great. So it talked about Dark Phoenix and why Dark Phoenix was terrible. Dark Phoenix did not do well, and essentially, they said Dark Phoenix felt like it was a Captain Marvel movie that was sort of, it had different names and faces, but basically the exact same formula. Now, there was most likely not any coordination between X-Men and Captain Marvel, but that goes to show how similarly they're approaching movies now. And throw away everything else, throw away identity politics and all of that. What they're trying to do is make movies that appeal to everybody. They're trying to hit all the right notes in a film, hoping that they will be able to reach a mass audience and lots of people will watch it because they are watching that film and everybody is seeing a little nod in there to them. And of course, you can't really separate this from identity politics because those are the kinds of groups of people that they're trying to appease and make them feel like this is their movie. And it fails. So yeah, this article is so good. Okay, so let's start here. This default continues at least some degree even today, but particularly the past decade or so, there's been more and more pushback, more and more people demanding representation both on and off screen, more people of color, more women, more members of the LGBT, blah, blah, blah. Man, that got bigger. QIA plus community. All right. In the past few years, it reached a point where even the biggest of franchises are clearly feeling the need to make, or at least attempt to make, certain baby steps in the vague general direction of these demands. Now, this article went through some demographic shifts of who they're targeting, who their target market is. Now, I know for a lot of different companies, they will, or products, they'll pick a person or like an archetype of a person for marketing, and they will market directly to that single person. So, for example, movies used to be targeted, as it explains here a little bit earlier in the article, used to be targeted toward women, and it'd be like middle-class women. And that's because middle-class women could control the spending, and they were more likely to go watch movies. And so in the 50s and 60s, you actually saw a lot of marketing, not that every movie was just made for women, middle-class women, but it's that the marketing was directed at middle-class women because they were the ones controlling the spending most likely. Now, that still happens today, depending on what products you're looking at, different things. They absolutely sell to women. Other things will be sold to men. And so for films, they've gone through sort of a transition, as it explains here. Then it kind of turned into the target audience being a teenage boy, something like a teenage boy, and lots of adventure and action and scantily clad women and things that teenage boys might like. And that's because they know with their marketing what is going to pull in money and what is not going to pull in money. So there was a shift. So today now you have this new phase, and they believe that they're trying they're trying to hit this woke audience because they hear so much about it. I think that the woke ones have made themselves look much bigger than they really are and much louder, and they have been obviously having a lot of influence over media. It is almost shocking when you sit back and think about it, how much control one political ideology has had over entertainment and politics and everything. Even if numbers don't support that, or if dollars don't support that. And as you're seeing, it's not that the film industry has decided that's where the sales are. It's that, rather than go all in and say, hey, our new target demographic is, woke people. That's our target demographic for films. They haven't jumped all in on that. What they've done is they've tried to add moments into movies that do point to those people, and then they are still trying to add things for the teenage boy, and they're still trying to add things for the middle class mother, all these kinds of things, and what you end up with is a whole bunch of garbage. Okay, so this section right here regarding on-screen depictions of women, specifically in 2019, has been something of a banner year, with a number of female-led major releases such as Captain Marvel and Dark Phoenix. However, looking at these two particular films, the numbers of similarities between them is astounding. In terms of storylines, like someone took a plot synopsis of Captain Marvel, put it through the same game of telephone, and the result became Dark Phoenix. Both films feature young women in possession of great otherworldly powers who have had certain memories hidden from them for their own good, who in culminating moments make a statement about how their emotions make them strong to make matters even more eerily uncanny. This description nearly works for Alita Battle Angel as well. That's a great point. We're talking about the same kind of film. Now, something that you'll notice in storytelling and in films in general, when it comes to wish fulfillment and things like that, a lot of these companies know what they're doing. For example, I'll notice in a lot of princess movies, I've got 2 young daughters, and I'll see stuff like this quite often, but there will be like a sheltered kind of thing, and I think of like Rapunzel, like she's locked away and held away from the world. Same thing with The Little Mermaid, she's kept from the world. I could go on and on and on. Princess movies do that. There's some kind of wish fulfillment and some kind of way that young girls can relate to that. They feel like they're, I don't know, just kept away and the world is out there waiting for them or something like that. But you will see those threads coming up in those tropes, and it's not just that, oh, it was written by the same person and they tend to do that. No, these are actually really targeted storylines that they're hoping work, and it will become to be a formula. So it seems like they found something that they think they were putting their money on would work for storytelling, for female leads. I'm seeing it's possible that it's not actually working, and we might see another shift. I don't know. Honestly, this is just, we're talking about a single movie bomb, so we'll actually probably see more films that follow this this kind of storyline, and I don't know. We'll see if it had to do with other factors in Dark Phoenix, and not that it's rehashing the same story. I don't know. And so even here in this article, they took a jab at the girl power stuff, right? Yeah, here we go. In an attempt to address this issue, however, what films like Dark Phoenix represent in Hollywood falling into a peculiar kind of trap. Instead of developing a slate of films that prioritize a range of audiences, there's a worrisome trend of films attempting to keep everyone happy at once. It's like the attitude that manifests in Dark Phoenix of the cringeworthy ex-women exchange. See, this is not right wing, a right wing channel here, and they're still saying, like, admitting the whole X-Women thing is cringy. One, because it didn't make any sense in context, because you didn't actually see just the women saving all the men all the time. That is inconsistent with the entire franchise of X-Men. And also, yeah, certainly, yeah, Professor X certainly wasn't guilty of any of that, and so it was cringeworthy. Not only that, they're pointing out that it's cringeworthy to women. It's cringy when they specifically have moments that are pandering to one kind of demographic. People don't like it. It's really irritating. And so, yeah, they get that again. It's the attitude generated by the fundamental ideas that a film can check off audience demographics, like items on a list. One hurrah power girl scene. Yeah, remember that from Avengers Endgame. At least one character of color becoming among the good guys. An exclusively gay moment. Remember that doozy from the live action Beauty and the Beast? See, they're admitting, again, when all this happened and there was pushback against how cringy these moments were in films, people were like, what are you talking about? No problem. Now that the water has passed under the bridge, they are admitting that it is cringy, and not from like a conservative perspective or a, I don't know. This is coming from somebody that wouldn't consider like against them or against their politics. Perhaps it's coming from somebody that is not tired of being pandered to, for sure. And the same thing happened in Captain America again. And yeah, they have these things. Okay, so the article, they used this metaphor that I thought was really interesting, and that is soda. So you could have root beer, for example, and that might appeal to a certain demographic. Then you might have orange soda, it's going to appeal to somebody else, and then Coca-Cola might appeal to somebody else. And what they've been trying to do in movies, and I will say maybe less so in comics, is actually make films that are a mixture of all the drinks. So you're left with just the sugar water, with fighting and arguing flavors that you're supposed to drink down, and they're hoping that all those different demographics are going to watch it and enjoy it. What ends up happening is that nobody watches it and enjoys it. It's not really made for anybody. This is a huge problem. Yeah, it's massive. So I will say, I think the way that it should be done, the way that it could be done correctly, is you use universal themes, and those are themes in any story that are universally relatable. Jealousy, the underdog, things like that. It doesn't matter if like who you are or what you look like; those will appeal to you. Now, the trappings of a film, obviously, you need to pick your audience. It's okay to have an audience that's strictly meant for men action shows. And I think a lot of this, if you're thinking about superhero comics, traditionally they had been targeted at men. When you believe that there's no difference between men and women, and that all the differences are just trained, then maybe you would think, oh, well, we can make superhero films appeal to everybody if we just made sure to show more women in them. That would change things. But it might be perhaps that there are other things about superhero comics and superhero stories that do appeal to men. And there are a lot of movies that appeal to women. And there are other reasons other than who you see in the film and what kinds of lines that they drop. It has to do with all the other things, the action and the romance and all these other things. Once you accept that, you can make a movie that's directed at a target audience. So yeah, this was really good. I love seeing that this discussion is getting out there, even if it has nothing to do really directly with the culture war. This could easily be an argument that's coming from somebody else that's woke, for sure. And what they really want is, or what would be nice or satisfy this, is to make a film that is straight up just for woke people and not for anybody else. And honestly, I wouldn't watch the movie, but you'd probably make more money doing it that way, or at least see if there's an audience that's actually interested in that. But for yeah, for these mass movies, you got to do something that has universal themes and it has a clear target demographic. So let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm really interested to see what happens next. I have a feeling nothing's really going to change for a little while. We're still going to see films following this same kind of trajectory in the future. And X-Men probably had a few other problems, let's be honest. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.